Yeah, Charlie Walk.
Okay, good evening, Chavit. Tonight we're going to start from Taz Chesam and Beis, towards the bottom. I made a mistake. We should not have stopped from where we stopped because this next Gemara is mamish exactly what we're talking about. Tana. So the last Gemara, just to hemshach wise, the last Gemara finished off that bracha is only shaylet on something is only matzah by something that's not shaylet ayin, something that's hidden or something that you're not staring at. Tana. Hanichnas lombar as garnai amai hiyotzim v'lach Hashem lekenu shetishlach bracha ma'aseh yedenu. Someone's about to measure out his storage houses. He where he keeps his grain. He should say yiratzim before. And once he starts already, he should say that bench is the one who gives bracha onto this pile. If you already once you count it already, then it's not that Hashem can't make it more, but the tava is that Hashem does not do these things. So to make a bracha, but there's a tefillah shavah. Fish in a bracha mitzui lo b'davar hashakav lo b'davar hamadud lo b'davar hamanai. Elo b'davar hasamoy min ha'ayin. Only something that is open is hidden from the eye, and that is what the that. So again, once the person counts how much grain he has. Who's here? Hey, you just hit the AC right there. Yeah, just push it on to cool, whatever. There we go. Hopefully it'll cool fast. Yeah, it's fine. It'll cool. Okay, so that's the point. Notice once you already count how much you have, you shouldn't ask. You shouldn't ask Hashem to make it multiply. And you should still be able to ask Hashem to protect it from mice and from vermin, and that it shouldn't rot. That's all part of that you can feel. But to say that I should have a lot of tefillah this year after I already pull my whole fichas base the bottom, after I pull my whole supply and account it, that really doesn't stem with teva. Zok the other Gemara. Kibbutz Gaisas Tzedakah Maisa Parnas Simon. This Gemara is going to discuss a few different things, and this is the Simon. The day of Gesham is as great as when we're collected for the Gula. Hashem is going to bring us back like kafikim banegam. The Gemara is going to explain what that means. Ein afikim ela matar. Negev is the desert. Ein afikim ela matar. Afikim has to be matar shenama vayero afike yam. And the water and they saw the afike yam. So the problem is afike yam is not referring to rain. Afike yam is referring to bodies of water, but there's no bodies of water in the desert, so it must be it's referring to rain. Even the legions, the armies, they stop because of the rain. In other words, once the roads get muddy, the army has to stop. Once the I think it's the irrigation is referring to. Once the irrigation fills up, or something else that has to do with water. I mean, like once the cisterns or the places of water fill up, then the army stops. The reason why Rabbi Yechon says the reason why rain is withheld. So someone when they come around from the appeal, that reminds me, actually I have to give money for Aliyah last week. Okay, so these when you pledge money and you forget to give it. Then I should do it right now because I'm going to forget. Right, whatever. Yeah, you remind me? Right after send the money. Very nice and very nice. So you pledge money and you don't give, so that causes rain to stop. There's clouds and there's wind, but then there's no rain. In other words, it looks like it's about to rain, and then Hashem takes the clouds away. The ish mispalo b'mata sheker. It's ish mishalo b'mata sheker. A person is praised from his false presence. So a guy goes to show, he goes, "Oh, I pledged $20,000," and he doesn't give it. I heard a story just reminded me. It just popped in the head right now. I met a guy. He said he died in a shul in Brooklyn. A guy pledged $25,000-$30,000, some crazy number for Psichas Ne'ilah, and they never heard from him again. Like he can't, and it's like he believed in Psichas Ne'ilah, but not in paying the bill. It was an interesting phenomenon. But it was whatever. The guy popped in for sure, and I don't know why they gave the guy $30,000 line of credit just for walking in. But like, it wouldn't make sense. So you think the guy's going to steal Psichas Nila? Right. But there are weirder stories than that. Unfortunately, it's interesting. It's interesting to say. Everyone has their own. It's like stealing a message, but like, okay, you're not Yitzhak. But like, if they put out a thing, you're not Yitzhak Psichas Nila. Like, oh, okay, fine, I'll pay. But like, there's no Tachtam, there's no Pasach Lechem, whatever. There's no Psichas Nila Pasach. Yeah. It's fine. So a person gets praise from his false donation, which means he pledges and he doesn't give. So the Hashem, that's the next part of the pasuk. Hashem brings the clouds and the rain. Then there's no rain. I heard a word that says that in Eretz Yisrael they give tzedakah with their hands and they kiss the Torah with their mouth. And in Chutzlaretz they kiss the Torah with their hands and they give tzedakah with their mouth. Since then, at least I started kissing the Torah with my mouth. At least that much I did. My deflip. Asa to Asa. What do we? What's the pasuk Asa? This Asa b'shvat this Asa, right? One of the most famous drushes from the entire Chumash is that you should give this Hakadosh Baruch Hu talking to Yaakov Avinu, and he says when you give money, when you give Ma'aser, you'll be able to you give money and to be rich. Ashkei Yechanan liyinuka dereish Lakish. Now Yechanan found the son, the young son of Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish is the Gemara, I forgot where, but he married. Rabbi Yechanan insisted. The story is that Rish Lakish was a ganef. He saw Rabbi Yechanan, he's walking, Rabbi Yechanan was beautiful, and he's mistaken him for a woman, and he jumped across the Yarden to chap him. He thought it was a idol. So he says, if you think I'm beautiful, you should, he said, such go back and forth, such Torah should be used for such Chayach should be used for Torah. And he said, if you think I'm beautiful, you should see my sister, she's much nicer than me. Interesting conversation between Amaram, but Rish Lakish was Chayz b'tshuva on the spot, he was Makabel to go learn, and the he ended up marrying Rabbi Yechanan's sister. So they had a son. So this son, that Rabbi Yechanan said to this kid, Amalei, Emily Psukach. What are you learning? What do you learn today, Cheder? Amalei, Astas Aser. Amalei, my Astas Aser. So Rabbi Yechanan said to him, what's the significance of this pasuk? Amalei, no, sorry, the son. This kid said to Rabbi Yechanan, I learned Astas Aser, but I don't know what it means. I don't know what's the Joshua. So what is it? Amalei, Az B'Shvat Asers. Rabbi Yechanan tells the kid, you should give Ma'aser, so you should be rich. Amalei, how do you know? Amalei, Zil Nasi, go test it out. The proof is in the pudding. Amalei, Umi Shayu Ben Zui Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Is it? This kid asks, are you allowed to test Hakadosh Baruch Hu? And it says, I think in the bottom. Yeah, it says in the bottom, like Tenasu Hashem, don't test Hashem. In other words, don't do mitzvahs stam. If you don't say, I'm going to put on tzitzis, you have to find me a shidduch. It's like, no. You put on tzitzis, I told you to put on tzitzis. I'll take care of shidduch on the side. Right? So don't test me. Hakadosh Baruch Hu says, Amalei Hachi Amar Rabbi Shua Chutz Mizu. Rabbi Shua said, Chutz Mizu. Shnema Haviu as Al Beis Ha'itzer. Bring all the mices to my house that the Kohanim could eat, that the Chaver and the Beis Midrash could eat. Hashem said, you could test me with this. That if you bring me food, I'll take care of it. If you bring food into the Mizbeach, into the Beis Midrash, I always mix those with I don't know why, but you could test me. So then the kid answers, no, I'm sorry. It says the pasuk says, it's a rubis shrine I'm going to give you bracha ad b'lidai. What does that mean? Amar ad b'lidai. Zok temar Amar Rechama Amar Rav. Actually, yivlu sveiseichem meloimer dai. Until your lips get worn out from saying dai. Now, if you just pay attention, dai, you don't use your lips. Dai. It's all coming from the throat, from your tongue. Dai, right? There's no. So it said that's the high level. It's never going to happen because you don't even use your lips. So if I told you you're going to use your lips until your lips say Baruch, okay, so you say Baruch a million times, your lips are going to get worn out. But it's even a million times not going to wear your lips from saying die because you don't use your lips. So
it's even more.
It's even more. It's not even shaykh. Fine, but then that was a little interruption because we just wanted to figure out what's going on. So this Yinuka says back to Rabbi Yechanan, if I would have got to the end of that pasuk. I wouldn't have needed George Russian. I would have figured it out myself. I would have just finished the rest of the pasuk. Another story where he bumped into this kid of the Rish Lakish. The Yaseh, I don't know if it's another story or it's another story. But Yivelas Adam to Salev Darkei V'al Hashem Yizaf Libai. A person, he says this pasuk. A person, He said that the kid said this to Yechon that people. Where's he saying this from? Where's this pasuk? From Mishlei. That a person does things wrong. Ivelas Adam at the Salav Darkei, a foolish person like corrupts his ways. Hashem Yazav Liba, but that he catches Hakadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, he does it there. He's like, oh, why am I getting punished? Why is this? Like, you know what? No, you know what's going on. So Yosef Yochanan becomes Masla. He's sitting there and he was thinking about it. Amar mi'aka midi deksive b'chsuve v'loy remiz b'raisa. How could it be this pasuk in Mishlei? It doesn't have any remez to it in the Torah. In other words, there's no. Where do we find this concept in the Torah? Mishlei saying something, Shalom Melech saying something in Mishlei that we don't really have in Makar for. Where's he coming from? Amalei. So this kid says back to him, Atu ha milay remizi. Is it not true that there is a remez v'chsiv v'yetzi livam v'yechredu ish al achav leima ma zois asa alekim lanu. This is talking about by the Achav Yosef, right? After they sold him and they went that right years later, a bunch of years later, right? It was 17 to 30 was 23. 23 years after they sold him, right? 23 years after, not 23, yeah. No, it's 13 years later. 13 years after, right? 13, 17 is 30, yeah. So after they sold him, they come down into Mitzrayim. They forgot the whole mice already. He sold whatever. They went to go look for him, according to some Farshim. They said that the reason why they went to 10 different gates is two different reasons. Either they shouldn't have Ayin Hara. One was to look for them. And they looked for him where? In the Beis Zaynas. They thought he was mamish like, he was sold off the derech. Where's it going to end up? He's going to be like a shamus for the Zionists to get them coffee in between. But he said so. That's right. They went to go scatter land. So they didn't forget about it. But after Yosef beat them up and took Shimon and made a whole bahala, they were clutching to themselves and they said, "Oh, how did this happen to us?" Right? Why Hashem do to us? Why Hashem do? This idea that we said in Mishlei that a person does something wrong. Again, we're not here to judge the Shvatim, but this is the Gemara saying that they misact, they didn't act correctly, and then they wanted to know why they're getting beaten up in Mitzrayim. So Dal Eine v'Chazavayit. They said Rechon had very, very long eyebrows. Basically, he couldn't see normal. So he had to lift up his eyes to see this kid. He wanted to look at him. He's like, he said a good part. He wanted to see him. Right away, his mother grabbed him away from him. Why? Amalei, come with me, don't let it happen. What happened to your father? What happened? At this point, Rish Lakish was dead already. What happened was Rish Lakish said something inappropriate to Rabbi Yochanan on some level, and Rabbi Yochanan got upset. He looked at him funny, and he dropped dead. So his sister was already nervous. Like, don't look at my kids funny. Like, you already got my husband. Rabbi Yochanan, Matar b'shvil yachid, parnasa b'shvil rabin. Matar comes down even for one person, but parnasa, the fact that in general that things should be cheap and things should be affordable, that only comes down on the schus of a rabbin. So even if one person has a schus for rain, he'll get rain. But rabbin, in order for the whole crop to be successful, you need schus rabbin. Matar b'shvil yachid l'chsiv yivtech Hashem l'cha es tzarei hatayiv. Hashem is going to open up his eitzer, his warehouse, is of the good ones, right? So it says Artzcha, not Artzchem. So it says for one person. I'm going to make for you bread. In other words, for the crop to be successful, that you need everyone has to be successful. We're going to ask a question on this idea. So Hashem put 3 leaders in charge of Klal Yisrael. Elohim, Moshe, Aaron, Miriam. I'm Moshe, Aaron. My wife is Miriam. So we got all 3 over here, and he put these 3 leaders in charge of us. The Shalish Matanis Toiv Nitnu Ayadim, and I gave you 3 things in the midbar for this of Zeschos. Elohim, Be'er, Ba'anan, Uman. B'schos Miriam was the Be'er, right? Be'er Shal Miriam. B'schos Aaron was the Nana Yekavit, and B'schos Moshe was the Man. Be'er B'schos Miriam, Be'er B'schos Miriam, Amra Anan B'schos Aaron, Ron B'schos Moshe. Mesa Miriam Nistalik Habesh. Once Miriam died, the bear dried up. How do we know? It says Miriam died. If it says, then right after it says they didn't have water. See, right after Miriam died, all of a sudden there was a water problem. Because until then, it was still in the midbar, right? Where had they get water from? And after the Kodesh Baruch Hu wrote it back, and he attributed to Aaron and Moshe's chos. But Mace Aaron, Nistalku and Nane Kavod. But once Aaron Akain died, the Nane Kavod stopped. Shenema by Yishma Kanani Melech Arad, the king of the Canaan heard. He heard this thing that they weren't able to, they weren't protected anymore from the Nane Kavod. Because so he took it as a heavenly sign to wage war, like Hashem, like open up the door. And this is another example where people they look for like heavenly signs to do the wrong thing because it was pumped to stop. There's a story, this joke. I don't know why I have such enough on this joke. A lady wanted to get a donut, but she's on a diet. So they said, Akash Baruch Hu, if I find a spot right in front of the donut shop, it's a simon that I should go in. On her 22nd time, I should find a spot. So you always find, if you're looking for a sign, you'll find a sign. Vayiru kol ha'eda ki gava Aharon, and the nation saw that Aharon was avek. Amar Avavo, al tikvi vayiru. Don't say that they saw. Ele vayiro, they were seen. Kedir Shlakish, the Amar Shlakish ki mashva abel l'shayin. It says 4 ways of touching ki. If, Dilma, maybe, Ella, except, Daha, because. So we're going to learn that this one is the last one. Because it says, don't say that that he, which I'm not sure which one of these 4 is that, but okay. Don't say that we saw that Aharon died. It's like they were seen because Aharon died. It's just right, just a little bit reading of the pasuk. The key is because they were seen because he died, not that they saw that he died. They both came back and Moshe read his chos. Meis Moshe is talking Kulan. Once Moshe died, they lost everything. Shenema va'achtiv es shleishes. I took back all the three shepherds in 1 month. They all died in the same month. That's not true. Miriam died in Nisan. Aaron ba'av and Moshe ba'adar. So it's 7 months. Why is Kosh Baruch saying that I took them all back in 1 month? The gifts of all 3 of them again got taken away another when Moshe died. Alma, okay, get to the point of this whole drasha was to see that we do bring down Parnasa for one person. Moshe Rabbeinu, he brought down man for everybody.
And it was for everyone, right?
That's what I'm saying, it was for everyone. And it was one person. And the Gemara, Alma Ashacham Parnasa B'Shvil Yachid. So you see, right? And the Mashani, Moshe, even the Rabbim who by Kirabim Dami. He asked only for Rabbim, and so he was like Rabbim, which is, you could, like a shtickle cheat code, if you tie yourself to Tzurche the Rabbim, you have a different. I've heard this in different like B'tachan and Amunah shares and Shirim and these kind of things, where if you're tied to the tzibur, then your bank account is a tzibur bank account. This is like a standard classical shmuz before Rosh Hashanah. That if you want.
It's also going to spell Aliyah.
Who not that's more of your davening for another yachid. Over here, Moshe is dealing with the rabbim. So a person is always Isaac P'tzach rabbim, then he has a different status. That's the name of a city. They were frequently by Rava's shirim. Once Rava passed, also Kamei Rav Papa. So they went to the next Maggid Shir. They went to Rav Papa. Called Amos Dahav was Amar Luhu Shmaita. Every shtickle Torah that our Papa said over, they didn't find it so glad. They were all like the 3 troublemakers in the back. They were like again not with tremendous amount of chutzpah, right? There were still tremendous talmidim and they were still tzaddikim, but a little bit he saw on their face that they said like Rabbi would have said it better, like it would have been clear if Rabbi said it. So it hurt him. Akruya v'chalmei, and Papa went to sleep that night, and they read from a pasuk they read from this pasuk in his dream. This pasuk that we just said of the achid as shloishes derayim. I'm going to take these 3 shepherds. That's referring to, we said Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, Aaron, and Moshe. But he's saying it's these 3 talmidim that we just said. It was a reference to those things that Hashem's going to take them away from the world. The malchak yihav miftare, meaning when they left his shir. Amalahu leizlu rabbanon lishloima. It changes from bishloima to lishloima because when you say to a person who's alive, the Gemara says brachas that you're supposed to say it with a lamed because a person is a haylach, so it's lishalim. Bashalim means you're in your place. You're bishalim. You can't do anything. that's reserved for dead people. But that's it. Like wherever they capped out, that's it. They're done. You punch it out and you're done. But yeah, it's it's a fine. It was a final game. But over here, he said, so he gave them a bracha that was to counteract the curse that he saw in the dream. Rav Simon Ba'ashi have a shechika kamei de Papa. Rav Simon Ba'ashi always go to Shir Papa. Have a kamakshule tuva. He would ask him very hard questions, very stark questions. Tuva means a lot, but it was very sharp questions. He saw once that Rav Papa was falling in Tefillah Kapayim. Shamid Amar Rachmana. He was davening a tefillah like his own. He went off script and he said, Litzland the kisufa the simi. I should be saved from this bizayin of simi. He shouldn't ask me such hard questions that I can't answer. He didn't want to hurt him, so he said, "I'm going to make sure not to ask hard questions." And he was mekabel on himself to just listen and share. Again, we had Rabbi Yechon and Amar Aleph said that you could bring bata for one person, but for parnasa you need a rabbin. And Reish Lakish holds the same thing. So the mata b'shvil yachad. Amar Reish Lakish minayin the mata b'shvil yachad. The chsiv shalu me'Hashem mata be'es malkush Hashem. Hashem is going to bring in the time of the rains, and he's going to make chazizim his clouds. We're going to say later, and he's going to bring rain. And he says ish Esav basada. So we're going to dash in the pasuk. Ish v'tanya ila ish yachal l'chol. It says ish. So it's I think it's good. Yachal l'chol. Yeah. Yachal l'chol. Tamam ish. I would think for everyone. No, everyone has to deserve it. He says no. Even for one person, I'll bring rain. V'tanya ila ish. If we just say ish yachal l'chol. So that's it. No. You have 5 fields, and one of them needs rain. So I'm going to bring rain just for one guy's one field. Answer is yes. Ish sada, a person and his one field. Okay, maybe you have I don't know 100 acres, and half of it's good and half of it's not. 80-20, whatever it is. I'm going to bring rain for 20% of its crop. For each plant, each individual plant, I'm going to is worthy of, and that's how pratisik gets. Rav Daniel Bar Katina Havale Hahig said Rav Daniel Bar Katina had this garden called Yoma Have Azal Sayala. He went to go check it out. Amar Ha Mishra Baya Maya. This row needs water. Ha Mishra Baya Maya. This row doesn't need water. He just walked through his garden. Ase Mitzvah V'Kamashki Kol Heichadim L'Mibaya Le Maya. And every row that needed water got, and every row that didn't need water didn't get. My Fatima Hashem Chazizim. This passage we just brought down. What does it mean Chazizim? Amar Avesi Bar Chanina. This is going to be a lesson in cloud types for the next a little bit. I did not bring any props. I'm sorry.
What is it called? Astronomy?
Meteorology. A person makes for each tzaddik his own cloud. Talking about my chazizim. What is this lashon chazizim? Amar Rabbi Yehuda parches. It's a lashon of parches. That means that they're running away. Parches is like they fly. Amar Rabbi Yochanan simin the matar parches. The simin for matar, the sign that you're going to have rain come soon is that you have these kind of flying clouds. What does that mean? My parches. Amar Papa Eva Kalisha Tuve Tuse Eva Samichta. You have like a thin layer of cloud underneath the higher layer of cloud. Basically, the clouds come really low because they're very heavy, and they because they're lower, they look like they're going faster. A plane that's all the way up doesn't look like it's going so fast, right? But so it's not really necessarily going faster, from what I understand. It just looks like it's going faster. But anyway, once they're low and they have this layer, that's how you know it's going to rain. If you have a thin rain, like a light rain, before a heavy rain, you know that the heavy rain is going to last. So you have a thin rain, and then a heavy rain, and the heavy rain is going to be like substantial. Once it goes back to the light rain, then you know that's how the storm is ending. How do I know? No, this is the same thing we said. Before rain, it brings rain. Mahulsa, a sieve. Just like when I do flour, right? So I have little flour comes through, and then there's still a bunch of heavy stuff coming down the line. So that's the simon that it's like a sifter. The basim mitzvah, pasuk mitzvah. The fact that it's after the heavy rains, once the light rain comes to, how do I know that and that it stops? The way a goat goes to the bathroom is first it's heavy, and then it starts to go light. So once you know that the goat is going light, you know it's going to end. That's the siman for light rain over heavy rain. I don't know why we had to pick the it's like an interesting mushal, but okay. Ula ikla lebavel chaza parches. Ula went to Babel and he saw parches, these kind of clouds that are very low and are flying. Amalu pamamani, bring my stuff in. The hashla asimitra. The water's the rain's coming. The seif asimitra. Nothing happened. Amar kihechi the mistakri babale. The same way these Babylonians are liars, so too the rains are liars. And again, this we just said this idea over here that the people who lie and don't give tzedakah, they cause the rain not to come. So he wasn't just like Stam ripping on them. He was saying this is the. He was saying that no, that's the einish. Ula, another story of Ula Ikla Labavel Chazim Leitzana the Tamri Bezuza. He saw a basket of dates that are sold for azuz. Omar Melotzana the Duvsha, a basket full of honey, referring to the dates as honey. Bezuza, Ubabli Aski Berais, another, and they don't learn Torah. No, they're not Isaac in Torah so much, and it's so easy, it's so cheap to buy good food. If you tell me you have to go schlep around and go buy food, you don't have time to learn. Okay, fine. You go to the store for one zuz, you get a whole basket of dates. You know, it's so easy to make money over here, and you don't have time to learn the whole day. He had violent stomach aches, diarrhea. The article says he got hurt very badly. His stomach from eating the dates. Amar Mulatzani the Sakina, a basket full of knives for a zuz. Ubabli asking by Raisa, and the Babylonians, they still have time to learn. In other words, he assumed that everyone's eating these dates all day because they're so cheap, and they're running to the bathroom, and they still have time to learn. Tanya, Ukyanos hu shaisa. Everyone, in other words, the water that we get as rain comes from the oceans. Ukyanos is oceans. The mist goes up from the ground, like we know, like we know how the rain works. It comes up from the oceans, it blows over, and it rains over here. So the mist comes up from the rain, and then the mist comes up from the earth, and then it goes over the rest of it. Amar Bishua, Shikapram, Halal Meme Ukyanos Melusani. The water in the ocean is salty. The water that falls on my head is not salty. So what happened? Amalai Mimatke the oven. The clouds have a filtration system and they filter out the salt. It's not coming from the ocean, it's coming from the Ma'am Yoinim, the water that Hakadosh Baruch Hu separated by Bris Adam. Shneimar Lemata Shemayim Tishta Mayim. From the rain of the Shemayim, it feeds the water. Ella Mayani Mekayim Be'ed Yala Min Aretz. We had a passage that says that the mist comes up from the ground. In other words, the clouds themselves, they go up into the Rakia. It opens up like a barrel, like a vat. Makabel May. These are the words that article. It says a water skin. It's like it's just what's the point of that? Like water skin, a wolf. Like I don't know. You know, it's just Tanoid is like a water skin. Okay, it's what he touches over there. But the point is some flask, some receptacle for water. The water goes into the mist. And they have holes in the clouds like a sieve, like and they come and they make rains, and they rains down on the karka. This passage says that like a chashos, like a sieve, it goes down into it makes the rain. Ein bein tipa latipa elok kamleinima, and in between each drop is mamash like a hair's breadth. The point is they don't touch the whole way, and they don't come in waves. Imagine we had waves of rain. Sometimes you have crazy rain, and it feels like mamash, like you're getting a bucket.
When it's windy, because then it's pushing
I hear what you're saying. Together. I didn't think of that. Okay, but sometimes you have like it's like a million little drops. It's not like a gallon of water comes down your head. It's crazy. It's a nice nifla, because if it just all the water just came down, things we just get wiped. Everything would get destroyed. And this is what the pasuk is saying over here. The day of rain is as great as the day of the Hashem created the Shemayim V'aretz. He makes he makes these wonders that they can't be fathomed. And he brings and the next part of the pasuk or the next pasuk over. Zion, Eov, Hey, yeah. The next pasuk over is that he brings down. He brings down the rain. The pasuk test is it's by Yeshayahu. It's not shaykhs, but it says Halo Yidata Im Lo Shivata Lekei Olam Hashem Ein Cheker B'Smasa. So you see Cheker. I think that's the cheshbon over there. Come on, okay. So this Uksiv Meichan Haram K'B'Chaychay. I'm not sure that. I'm not sure if that comes in. Okay, fine. The point is he brings down. This Hashem created the world, and his the one of the craziest things that he does, and we said this before already, is his rain. This pasuk that we're going to say, who does it go going to? It says Mashka Harim Me'ali Yosef. It says that he brings down, he's Mashka the Harim from the heavens, from very high up, right? This is talking about the chambers of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, not the ground that like we had in Machlekes. Come on, Rabbi Shua. It's Rabbi Shua, because Rabbi Shua says that it comes from that the clouds pick up the water from the Rekia and then they drop it off. So that makes sense for the pasuk that they're mashkin from the Al Yosef to the Harim. Rabbi Lazar Kiv and the Salak Lahasam, since they go up there, mashkin Yosef Karel. In other words, it's not a stira. Rabbi Lazar says the water comes from the ground, but where does it come from immediately after it gets the mountains? Right, directly from the mountains. It's from the clouds, so it's still called Mount Yosef because it looks like it's coming from there, even though the source of the water is the oceans. The Eloi Teimachi. If you're not going to say this, it says in the pasuk, "Avak va'afar min hashemayim." Avak and afar, dirt and dust from Shemayim. Where do you find dirt? No, we have Mayim Hakadosh Baruch Hu by Ma'aseh Bereishis. Hashem didn't put up deserts in Shemayim, so where do you get Avak and afar from Shemayim? Elak even the Migdal Lahasam. In other words, it's huge winds. It brings up the sandstorm. Then it comes crashing down on your head. It looks like it's coming from the sky, but we know that it's not. We know that it came from the sand, a mile, whatever. It came from the ground over there. But it looks like it's coming from the sky, so it's called from the sky. Even though we know that it comes from the ground, but it gets soaked up first to the heavens, so it looks like it. That it comes from the depth. What causes the water cisterns to fill up? Is the time, is the depths of the ocean. Like Rabbi Lazar, get it, because Rabbi Lazar says that the water comes from the Tahimais, goes up to Shemayim, and then fills up the cisterns. Rabbi Shua, that's talking about Bria Sa'ilam, that Hashem took he collected all the what?
Oh, I was looking back.
I can get a normal Gemara next time. But he says, Yeshua says, no, that pasuk talking about Yisraelim, where Hashem collected the water from the Tahim and filled up the bayers that way. Shkayat, have a beautiful night. Bez Hashem Monday.